Less than 10 seconds. That's all the time it took for Myisha Hines-Allen to go from a quiet role player off the Indiana Fever bench to getting tossed out of her own building. When the dust settled in the fourth quarter, all 5 players involved were called for technical fouls, and Hines-Allen got a second technical on the very next play and was ejected from the game. And the person she had locked eyes with, the player she shoved, the woman at the center of this whole powder keg? Alyssa Thomas. This was the enforcer war finally boiling over. And what happened next told you everything about how this league really operates. Now, before we go any further, do me one favor. If you love raw, unfiltered WNBA drama and you're tired of the soft, sanitized coverage everywhere else, smash that like button and subscribe right now, because this story has more layers than people realize. Trust me, by the end of this, you're going to have a take. Let's get into it. So let's rewind to how this entire thing detonated, because it did not come out of nowhere. It was Monday night, June 22nd, 2026, at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. With 7 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter and Indiana holding a commanding 73-54 lead, Caitlin Clark got tangled up under the basket with her former Indiana teammate, DeWanna Bonner, and was called for a personal foul. Think about that for a second. The Fever were up 19 points. The game was basically over. And yet that's exactly the moment when the whole thing went nuclear. Because in basketball, blowouts breed bad blood, and the Mercury were getting embarrassed on the road. Clark, being the competitor she is, started chirping. The two were locked into each other before Bonner pulled her arm away, setting off Clark, who began chirping her as she walked toward the baseline. A referee jumped in to separate them, and for a brief moment it looked like everyone would just play on. But that wasn't the whole story, because while Clark and Bonner were jawing, a second, nastier confrontation was already brewing just a few feet away. When Bonner walked off, Alyssa Thomas and Myisha Hines-Allen were standing nose to nose, jawing at each other. Nose to nose. In the middle of an NBA-caliber arena, 2 grown professionals were squared up like it was a schoolyard. And here's what almost nobody noticed in the chaos. This wasn't random. While Clark and Bonner verbally jabbed at each other momentarily, Alyssa Thomas got herself into the situation, and before she could stop the two, Fever's Myisha Hines-Allen started saying something to Thomas, and the two were quickly assessed a double technical foul. So you've got Hines-Allen, a bench player who only logged 14 minutes that night, stepping straight up to one of the most physically intimidating players in the entire WNBA. That takes guts. Or it takes a whole lot of built-up frustration finally spilling out. You decide. But here's where it gets even crazier. And this is the part people keep glossing over. Enter the Fever's enforcer, Sophie Cunningham. The former Mercury fan favorite and de facto Clark bodyguard also joined in the action, and she and Bonner pointed fingers at each other. Picture the scene. Clark is barking at the refs, Hines-Allen and Thomas are nose to nose, and now Sophie's locked into a finger-pointing standoff with Bonner. Cunningham and Bonner taunted each other, with the Fever guard pointing and staring at the veteran for nearly half a minute. Half a minute of pure, unbroken stare-down. That's not a flash of anger, folks. That's a statement. Sophie Cunningham doesn't blink, and that's exactly why this team loves her. Now, while all of this was unfolding, Clark did something that lit up social media for the next 24 hours. The Mercury's Valeriane Ayayi restrained Bonner and Thomas, while Clark clapped in their direction. She clapped. And that clap cost her. Because moments after the text got handed out, the officials hit Caitlin Clark with a technical foul of her own. Her 5th of the season. And when she found out why, she was floored. After the game, Clark didn't hold back and she called out the official by name. Clark was perplexed and called out official Gerda Gatling by name, saying she got a technical for clapping, and adding, "We should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping." Read that again. She's getting whistled for clapping. Clapping. She said she asked Gerda, and Gerda told her she got the technical for clapping. So if any technical should be taken away, it should be that one. And she called the whole thing ridiculous and said she didn't understand it at all. Honestly, hard to argue with her. If celebrating in your home arena is now a technical foul, the rulebook needs a serious rewrite. But that's not even the wild part. Let's talk about what happened to Hines-Allen, because this is where the enforcer war truly peaked. After all the texts were sorted out, play was supposed to resume. As the game kicked off again, within 8 seconds, Hines-Allen was hit with a personal foul as she shoved Bonner, and with her continuing to argue, she was assessed her second technical foul of the night, resulting in an automatic ejection. Gone. Done. Sent to the locker room. Hines-Allen finished with 3 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in 14 minutes off the bench. Her night ended not with a stat line, but with a long walk down the tunnel while a sold-out crowd roared. And here's the detail that says it all about Alyssa Thomas. Thomas did not retaliate and simply walked away, knowing that she would likely be tossed if she did. Now think about that. The veteran knew exactly how to play the game within the game. She poked the bear, let the younger player crash out, and walked away clean. That, my friends, is a savvy, ice-cold veteran move. And whether you love her or can't stand her, you have to respect the calculation. So how did Sophie Cunningham respond to all of it? Did she apologize? Did she back down? Absolutely not. That's professional sports, Cunningham told reporters. Sometimes things get chippy, and that's okay. It's okay for women to stand their ground a little bit and to have some extracurriculars at times, because you have to stand your ground. And she went further. She said they weren't worried about it, that they needed to focus on winning the ball game, and on what they could do better defensively moving forward. That's the Sophie Cunningham the Fever fan base adores. No drama queen act, no crocodile tears, just a hard-nosed competitor who refuses to let anyone push her teammates around. If you ask me, that's the exact energy this Fever team needed. And it's no coincidence the wins are coming. But here's where the double standard talk kicks in, and this is the hot take that's been burning up Fever Twitter. Let's be brutally honest about something. Imagine if the shoe were on the other foot. Imagine if it were a Fever player squaring up nose to nose, then shoving a Mercury star 10 seconds later. The narrative would have been written instantly. The think pieces, the calls for suspensions, the "they're out of control" headlines. We all know it. But because it was Hines-Allen getting tossed and Alyssa Thomas walking away clean, the coverage was muted. That's the part that drives this fan base up the wall. And frankly, they've got a point. So what did the league actually do? Let's talk punishment. Because the receipts are in. With her 5th technical of the season, Clark will be fined $1,000 and receive a warning letter from the WNBA, while Cunningham will be fined $500 for her 3rd technical of the year. And it doesn't stop there. Hines-Allen, who was ejected less than 10 seconds after receiving a 2nd technical for getting into it with Thomas, is also expected to be fined, along with Bonner and Thomas. So basically, everyone's getting hit in the wallet. Here's the breakdown of the actual call from the night. According to Indie Star's Chloe Peterson, there were offsetting techs on Alyssa Thomas and Myisha Hines-Allen, offsetting techs on Bonner and Cunningham, and the tech on Clark, her 5th of the season, meant the Mercury shot 1 free throw, which Bonner missed. Even the free throw was a brick. You couldn't script it better. Now here's the bigger picture nobody is talking about, and it's why this matters way beyond one fine. 8 technicals equals a 1-game suspension, and Clark is now sitting at 5. That's not nothing. Clark has never been suspended in her WNBA career, but she's been close to the limit before, receiving 6 technicals during her rookie season when the limit was 7. So when she joked about circling a game on the calendar where she's going to get suspended, it wasn't really a joke. It was a warning shot at a league office she clearly feels is targeting her over things as harmless as a clap. And honestly, when the most marketable player in the sport is openly questioning the officiating by name, the league has a real problem on its hands. Let's back up and understand why this Fever-Mercury blood feud runs so deep. Because this didn't start Monday. The roots of the tension trace back to Bonner's brief and controversial stint with the Fever in the 2025 season, when she arrived in Indiana as one of the franchise's biggest offseason additions, joining Clark and head coach Stephanie White in hopes of competing for a championship. That marriage fell apart fast and ugly, and Bonner ended up in Phoenix. And the Cunningham connection runs even deeper, because she and Bonner also played 1 season together with the Phoenix Mercury back in 2019, when Cunningham was a rookie and Bonner was her veteran. So this is teammate-turned-enemy, mentor-turned-rival energy on full display. No wonder it's personal. So where does all of this leave us right now? Here's the kicker. These 2 teams run it back because the Fever host Phoenix again on Wednesday. That's tonight. Same building, same bad blood, barely 48 hours after Hines-Allen got run out of the gym. If you think these teams are going to suddenly play nice, I've got a bridge to sell you. The Mercury are limping in at 5-13, while the Fever sit at 10-7, and a hungry, embarrassed team is a dangerous team. And what about Clark herself heading into the rematch? She's listed as probable due to back soreness that she's been dealing with throughout this season. Now don't panic because there's a pattern here. This marks the 13th straight game that Clark has been listed on the injury report. She's consistently been given the probable tag, and she's played in each game, so the smart money says she's suiting up. And she's been spectacular, by the way. On Monday, she contributed 24 points on 8 of 17 shooting, with 9 assists and 3 rebounds in 29 minutes. She's been on an absolute heater lately, too. She has put up at least 20 points and 5 assists in her last 6 games, the longest such streak in WNBA history, the longest in league history. Let that sink in. The injury talk gets all the attention, but the woman is quietly rewriting the record books. So here's my final take, and I want yours in the comments. This enforcer war between the Fever and the Mercury isn't fading, it's escalating, and the league's inconsistent whistle is pouring gasoline on it. Myisha Hines-Allen took the fall, Alyssa Thomas skated, Sophie Cunningham stared down a former friend for 30 straight seconds without flinching, and Caitlin Clark is one clap away from a fine every single night. That's not basketball getting soft. That's basketball getting real. So tell me, was Hines-Allen wrong for shoving Thomas, or did the league let the real instigator walk away clean? Drop your honest take in the comments right now. Hit that like button if you're riding with the Fever, and subscribe so you don't miss the rematch fallout, because tonight in Indianapolis, round 2 is loading, and you know it's going to get chippy. We'll see you in the next one.